Hello, and welcome to a very exciting edition of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
And I'm Bill, and I'm ecstatic that the Eagles won, and even more ecstatic that the Patriots lost.
And you should mention what we talked about on the phone earlier. You said you were almost as happy that the Patriots lost as if the Steelers themselves had won the Super Bowl.
Yes. I mean, if the Steelers would have won the Super Bowl, that would be the best possible outcome. But this was the second best possible outcome. And I was telling Jason it wasn't that far behind, which might tell you how strongly I hate the Patriots.
Yeah.
But, I like the Eagles. The Eagles were a great story. I love the Nick Foles story. I loved the quarterback play. I loved the quarterback pass. I loved everything about it. But I have to point out, Brady threw for 500 yards.
3 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, played a hell of a game.
And he was missing,
was costly.
Yeah.
And, the pass that Brady didn't catch would have been interesting because he had a lot of room to go on that one.
It's true.
He had a lot of room to go on that one.
It's true. If you like defense, this was definitely not the Super Bowl for you. Because outside of the strip sack, there was absolutely no defense. There was one punt in the game.
No, one punt.
Almost 1,200 yards of total offense. It was just insane.
Yeah, I was listening to Malcolm Jenkins this morning, and he was saying we knew we had to get one stop, but we got our one stop with the strip sack, and then we actually got 2 stops because they stopped at the very end, so they had 2 stops, but that's about it. And they did stop on 4th down early in the game.
Yes, they did. The Eagles did something that both the Jaguars and the Falcons failed to do, and that's they remained aggressive.
They had their foot on the gas the entire time, and that's exactly what it was. You can't play cautiously against a team like that because they've got too much talent, they've got too much experience, they got great coaching. They're going to find a way to beat you, and even despite the fact, as aggressive as the Eagles were, the ball at the end, at one bounce, it's a tying touchdown. Well, it's a touchdown, then 2-point conversion, and I would have no way to think that the Patriots wouldn't make the 2-point conversion with Gronk in there. And then you're going to overtime, probably. In fact, I'm sure you're going to overtime, and then anything can happen.
Anything. And again, I'm as ecstatic as you that Brady lost. We had squares at work, and I wanted squares, so I wanted to win money on the games to make it even sweeter. What do you think happens with Nick Foles now?
Well, he's got 1 year. He's under contract with the Eagles for 1 more year. I don't know how long Carson Wentz is out. I thought he was a free agent, but it was pointed out to me he's got 1 year left. So he's got 1 year left. Does Carson Wentz need an entire year to come back? If so, you're talking October or November from that injury, and it might take that long to come all the way back, And so do you trade Nick Foles knowing that you really need him for September, maybe all of October? And I think the answer is no.
And again, what do you think?
However, if the Browns would offer, say, that number 4 pick, you'd be crazy if you didn't take it.
At that point, yeah. But if you get Alex Smith went for a 3rd-round pick and a good cornerback. So even if you lose Foles next year,
win a Super Bowl.
It's true. But even if you lose Foles next year, you still probably get a 3rd or a 4th compensatory pick. And this way, you've got him for the beginning of the year, or in case he does get hurt, you've got him whenever you need him. So yeah, it seems like one of those things or at the very least, maybe you hold on him until middle of the season, like Garoppolo.
So the question is, would you give a 1st pick up for him?
No.
A 1st-round pick.
I don't
think what he did is going to continue on next year.
I think Doug Peterson.
Do you think that he's a system quarterback now, and he played really well for Peterson in that system?
I need to double check this, but we were having a discussion. They said that he'll be 29 next year.
Yeah.
So he's a 29-year-old quarterback.
But 29 is prime years.
It's prime years. And he had an amazing stretch under Chip Kelly. And he obviously played incredible under Doug Peterson. But I think the Eagles have an amazing offensive line. They've got good running backs. They're clearly a very well-coached team. And I'm not saying, and I think system quarterbacks like an insult. People said that about Brady for a long time. But every quarterback is technically a system quarterback. If the system they're in provides them with protection and weapons on the outside and weapons on the inside, then maybe we got something to deal with. But other than that, I mean, everybody's kind of a system. I like the insurance policy. I feel like I'm the Eagles. I'm going into next year, unless somebody offers me something ridiculous, top 15 pick.
Yeah.
Because even though Wentz is my future, I know I'm getting something compensatory for Fultz no matter what. But I got a chance to repeat. So.
Yeah, you do.
And injuries just happen. And hopefully Wentz goes the rest of his career and he looks like he did last year, an MVP candidate, he's healthy. But not knowing that, I'm holding on to him.
And you got him under contract for like $7 million a year.
Yeah, and if I can fit him under the cap, it'll depend, obviously. Like, what am I getting offered?
Mm-hmm.
And does it improve my team enough to make it worth it? And that I can't answer the question because I haven't seen what's offered on the table. Because you figure you also have, for sure, you have Sam Bradford and Case Keenum are free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater may be a free agent. I read something that because he spent so much time on the injured list, he might be actually stuck under contract for another year, which seems terribly unfair to him, but that might be the way it goes. And who else is out there?
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins is a free agent. So, I mean, there's a pretty deep market of free agent, because I feel like...
I've never thought Kirk Cousins was all that.
No, I never liked Sam Bradford either, but he keeps getting traded for first-round picks, so obviously people in the NFL do.
Maybe see how it plays out. I mean, it was... I talked to my friends at Fanatics today, and they're going to have an unbelievable merchandise year selling Eagle stuff. Because you figure a team that hasn't won in a half a century, how much Eagle stuff, how much green do you have?
I don't know. A lot.
I mean, they are going to paint, they are going to sell a lot of Eagles merchandise. A lot. An unbelievable amount.
It's true. And like you said, I mean, there's a lot of free agent quarterbacks, and then this draft, depending on what we think of it, I like at least 2 quarterbacks in this draft. I don't know enough about the top 2 guys right now. I haven't seen anything from Rosen or Darnold that makes me think they're going to be the greatest, quarterbacks moving forward.
No, but if you're the New York Giants and if you think Darnell's the guy, you draft him, you put him behind Eli Manning, and he's got a year or 2 years to develop.
It's true.
And it may be, I think that's what he needs. I think he should stay at USC another year, but that obviously didn't happen.
Didn't happen, right.
So who are the 2 guys you like?
I like both the kids out of Oklahoma. I like Rudolph from Oklahoma State.
I like Wyoming, too.
And I love Baker Mayfield. He's my favorite quarterback in the draft.
I saw a projected draft today in USA Today. I think he went 5.
I have a friend who's a Browns fan, as you know, Clark. That's his favorite quarterback in the draft. He doesn't care if they take him with 1.
But and granted you have a new GM now, but they passed on Carson Wentz.
Teddy Bridgewater.
They passed on Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
And they drafted other quarterbacks. I mean, if I get drafted, if I was a quarterback and I get drafted by them, I would just hold out forever until somebody traded my rights.
I mean, they also passed on Goff, who looks competent. Yep. Clearly, they passed on a few other guys here and there. So I mean, you never really know, but it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing, obviously. And I don't know if this new general manager and this new is going to be any better.
And it's a football general manager. It's not an analytics baseball guy. So we'll see what we got.
Right, but they still have the same coach who's 1 in. What is he?
1-31.
1-31. That's right. It was Hugh Jackson Day recently, January 31st.
1-31 doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
No, it doesn't. And I know. You're only as good as the talent you have to coach on some level, but. I don't know. And next year, do you know who the favorite to win the Super Bowl is next year?
Let's see. New England?
It is the New England Patriots are number 1, followed by the Eagles.
And then followed by the Steelers and who else? Vikings?
Steelers, Vikings, Packers.
All probably, 10-1?
Those are 10-1. I think Patriots are 4-1. And what are the... And the Eagles are, I think, 5-1, so they're right in it. So,
yeah. Well, let's see. the XFL is my sport business moment.
Okay.
So Vince McMahon hasn't said a lot, but here's what kind of the things he said. He said that they're going to, since they're looking for younger audiences that maybe aren't committed to NFL teams, maybe look kind of on the base of the MLS, you're looking for younger audiences that may be wanting to follow you and follow what you're going to do. He's talking about shorter games, but he hasn't said how much shorter. He's talking about fewer commercials. And, obviously that would play well with whoever.
Right.
So then he's saying he's really big on this anthem dealing that you're going to have, if you're going to play in the league, you can't kneel. And then he's into, we're not going to draft players with any arrest records. So that's going to give him a shortage of talent for sure.
Right.
But the NFL games average more than 3 hours. It's like 15 minutes worth of action. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a game down to 2 hours, although he hasn't said that. I think he's going to take advantage of the rules. And we saw, Al Riveron interpreting the catch rules differently yesterday than he did the last 2 months of the season. So you got a lot of people that are pissed off about how you're interpreting rules and everything. I mean, if a running back runs in and jumps over and slams the ball and it pops up, it's a touchdown. If a wide receiver does the same thing, it's not. Unless he's determined to have been a runner rather than a receiver. I mean, they just made it so complex. They're losing people.
And again, I know they're interpreting the rules based on the way it's written, but and not to point out the obvious one because it's an obvious one to us, but the Jesse James one, that was a catch.
It was the same play. It looked very close.
It was very close. But that was a catch. To anyone that watched that game, I mean, even I have lots of Patriot fans from going to school in Massachusetts and us living up there, and they all agreed it was a catch. So it's not like, there was never any question about whether or not that was a catch, even from Patriot fans. The thing I would wonder, though, I know the anthem thing, I think that was more of the loudest squeak, but it's a small group of people that cared about that.
I agree. But it's funny.
And I also think you're going for a younger audience. I think the younger audience really supported the kneelers as opposed to...
I know, but I've had a lot of people told me they didn't watch a game from the first game on this year.
Because of the kneeling?
So it really resonated with some people, so we'll have to see. And then that relates again to falling TV ratings. So if he can, to me, if there's falling TV ratings, that says people aren't as interested in your sport because that's the pinnacle of pro football.
It is, but...
It's not that you're not interested in, football viewing is down, period.
Everything is down, period.
If you think you're going to get people to watch the XFL because it's different, but it's still football, I don't see that happening.
No, literally everything is down for a number of reasons. You just have so much, I get cold at work every day about some other show that I've never heard of on some other platform that, you've just got to check out. There's just so, between, podcasts and books and video games and television and movies and sports, there's just simply too much content to consume. But I think part of the NFL ratings are down because, first off, despite all the money that was just paid this week, Thursday Night Football is atrocious. I love the NFL. I don't watch Thursday Night Football unless the Steelers are playing. And that's only because I don't want to miss a Steelers game.
There would be a movie you read Thursday Night Football. Obviously, I was really wrong.
Well, you saw how much, didn't they pay $4 billion or something ridiculous?
They paid more than it's worth.
Yeah, because Thursday Night Football is bad football. The players tell you every time that the Thursday Night Football game comes out how bad it's going to be, and it's worse. I think some of the games, I think they've spread themselves a little bit thin, and then I think the other thing, and this is something, you have a younger generation, like Kurt Warner's kids are never going to play football. This is the first time where sons of football players are never going to play football due to CTE. And I don't think we're going to see a huge diminish, but I think there is a little bit of that going on. And then I think the other thing that he's going to have to deal with, and I don't know how he contends with, anyone that watched the NFL this year, you lost a lot of stars this year too. You lost Watt, you lost Rodgers, you lost Watson. You lost a lot of exciting players, which I think hurt the ratings as well. Yeah, but even when everybody is healthy, including Rodgers and Watson, and despite teams like Philadelphia where your backup quarterback looks fantastic and Case Keenum looked fantastic and you win the Super Bowl and go to the NFC Championship game, there's not 32 men on the planet that can play quarterback in the NFL. on a high level.
No, I agree. And Kaepernick still didn't get a shot.
And Kaepernick still didn't get a shot, and he's obviously not going to get a shot in Vince McMahon's league. But where do you get the talent if you're Vince McMahon?
Well, I don't know about that, but here's where they speculate the 8 markets are going to be. You ready for this?
Yes.
Chicago, New York, San Francisco, Dallas. I think all 4 of those are a mistake.
I was about to say, those are not good places to go.
San Diego, St. Louis, and Oakland.
Why San Diego?
3 cities that had an NFL team and no longer have one.
I lived in
And
San
the last
Diego.
market is Orlando, which is the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I was like, that's the first one he has that makes sense.
And if I was Orlando, I would sign Tebow. I'd give him half the team and have him play. I guarantee they'd average over 30,000 people a game.
That does make a lot of sense.
That would be my business move for the XFL. Have Tebow on one of the teams, preferably a Florida team, and then he moves around and other Tebow clones from all over the country will go watch Tebow play. That will help. That will give you some attendance. I don't see people tuning in to watch this. I think after an entire college football season and an NFL season, to throw this in the spring is just lunacy. I just don't see people wanting that much football. I just don't see them screaming for it.
No. Like I said, I think the NFL has spread themselves too thin. I think they were better off with just Sundays and Monday night. Leave people wanting more. It's a tried and true. It's been around forever. It's a solid formula. Like you can't beat.
Ask Krispy Kreme in NASCAR.
Yeah. Would be
So
interesting.
anyhow, that's our sport business story to follow. We'll have to follow Vince and see what he does. I just don't see it. There's another guy trying to get the spring league of American football off the ground, and he's already tried to do it, and he has to postpone it. I just don't see it. He's looking at investors. I mean, I realize somebody is going to give him money for content. Somebody's going to give him money for the content.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. Somebody will do this. I think it'll be a Hulu, an Amazon, somebody like that. It won't be a network TV. It will not be network TV. It'll be a streaming service.
Yeah.
But it's got to go up against. Think about what if you're playing February, March, and April. April's about the busiest sports month in the United States. April, you've got March Madness.
Right.
You got opening of baseball season. You got the end of the NBA season, the beginning of the NBA playoffs. You got NHL playoffs. I think I said the Masters. You've got NASCAR. You've got the height of the PGA Tour. It just seems crazy to me.
And don't forget it's NFL draft season. Combine time.
NFL draft season.
And you got a lot of shows returning. I mean, it's just... I don't know. It's a crowded market. And I just don't... Like I said, I just don't see him getting the talent. Because, again, Tebow is a once-in-a-generation, whatever reason people love him. I don't get it.
He's polarizing. People love him, people hate him, and they both buy tickets. One to watch him succeed, one to watch him fail.
Well, I think in this league...
Then he's got the religious right going for him.
Yeah.
I mean, people will follow him because of his lifestyle.
I suppose, yeah. See, but you need villains. Like, you should at least be able to hire a couple criminals like Johnny Manziel.
Well, maybe he'll bring back He Hate Me.
Maybe.
All right, I think we've talked a lot of football. What else do we talk about?
Well, the sad story of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just have just looking worse and worse and worse. And I don't know what you do.
I don't think you have anything that anybody wants to get a better piece for, unless you're trying to dump salary.
No, because the Brooklyn pick was worth more 2 years ago, worth a little less last year. And I think it's almost, who do you pair with the Brooklyn pick? Nobody wants Tristan Thompson's albatross of a contract. Nobody wants J.R. Smith or Ramon Shumpert. You have 2 pieces. You have the Brooklyn piece and LeBron James. You got nothing else. Yeah. And there's nobody available outside of, George Hill, DeAndre Jordan, who can't play at the end of games anyway.
So, Jason, let's put it out there. If you had a buyer that was willing to overpay because they thought they were one massive piece away from the NBA Finals, would you trade LeBron James?
If I'm the Cavs right now, in a heartbeat.
Because you've got to rebuild, and he's going to be gone next year.
It seems
So
clear,
it's
like
almost the same thing. It's like a pending free agent. Do you see what you can get for him now, or do you just lose and get nothing? And if you can get a nice package for him, you can make that rebuilding effort a little easier or a little not as traumatic for the fans.
right. I think the fans would be on board. I know LeBron has a no trade clause, but I think if you were getting
He
him,
has agreed to it. But if you said, LeBron, we can't win this year, we want to give you a chance to go to another team and win. He's all about winning championships.
yeah, that's. And again, like I don't know what team that's going to be, but Golden State and Houston have nothing to give up for him,
Nope.
except for a couple of future terrible first round picks. Oklahoma City has nothing to give up for him. I think the only team that has enough to give up for him that would be worth it would be the Celtics. And I don't know if I don't know if he would just make a super all-star team in the East and go to the Celtics. Because they're the only one with like the Celtics are in an amazing position. They have so many assets.
Yeah.
And even if it was like, even if I'm the Cavs and the Celtics called and they're like, you can have the Lakers pick, a future first round of ours, and Jaylen Brown, and maybe Marcus Smart, and we'll rent LeBron for the rest of the year. If I'm the Cavs, even though that's not really, you can't get the value for LeBron, period. But
no, it's LeBron James. He's a lifetime player.
But then maybe I'm going into the year with
combination of picks and players.
Right. But then maybe I got a young piece in Jaylen Brown to build around. I got 2 potential top 10 picks this year, a future first. I can, because they're not getting out of the East this year.
No.
I could see them losing to Indiana in the first round. Like.
No, I mean, it kind of interesting. Let's follow it and see if something like that. I know it seems ludicrous, but it also seems like this is something you should really think about.
I would be talking to LeBron and asking, and then put feelers out there because he's not staying.
No, I agree. He's not staying
unless Dan Gilbert is leaving and giving his people part of that team, which isn't going to happen. He's not staying. So.
No.
And you're not winning that team is terrible. Because no matter how good LeBron is, there's not enough pieces on that team to do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can't keep blaming, Love and Isaiah Thomas. Like, that's just a poorly constructed team from head to toe.
It's interesting. Let's see.
Yeah. But again, I don't really know what's out. Because I know, like, they said they would move the Brooklyn pick for an established young star under control. And I don't know anybody that would take the Brooklyn pick for that. That has an established young star under control.
No, when you use the word established young star under control, I mean, that's.
Because if you have that, that's a better guarantee than the Brooklyn pick.
And staying on the NBA, I'm perplexed by Oklahoma City, who looked like they were really playing well. Now just lost 4 in a row.
They have. As we discussed, they have been the victims.
They're the most inconsistent team. They can't finish. And they are like the opposite of the Patriots. In a close game, they get the call to beat them, always.
But again, if you're that team, and you do have Westbrook, Paul George, and for whatever it's worth, he can still put the ball in the bucket, Carmelo Anthony, you would think getting plays at the end would be easy. Now, Russ doesn't seem to get a lot of calls, in my opinion.
No. But it always seems like they're in a close game, and the other team does something that's controversial. They get the benefit of a bad call, and then they win.
Yeah.
Guys stepping, like the Greek freak, stepping out of bounds. Like the other day, a guy inbounding the ball on the side, not under the basket, on the side, which means it's not after a made basket, so you can't move your feet. It takes 4 steps with the referee standing next to him. And throws a pass that sets up a 3-pointer, and they win.
I know.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I can't figure it out. It's my mystery for the year. Why isn't Oklahoma City better than they are? And why did they lose so many close games at the end?
And again, not that he's my favorite player in the NBA, so I don't want to say anything about Russ, but as I knocked James Harden for not finishing in the playoffs and Chris Paul for not finishing in the playoffs. One of the big knocks on Oklahoma City this entire time, whether it was with Russ and KD, is that they didn't. You were like, how do Russ and KD not make plays at the end?
Yeah.
And it seems like, again, this is a Russ team, and they're not making plays at the end. So at some point, it's got to fall on him. You know.
Absolutely. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see what I got. I went and saw The Post with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
Okay.
And I'd say good, but not great. I mean, not as the storyline wasn't as developed, but what I liked about it, you know, All the President's Men's a better movie about a similar story.
Right.
But I liked the fact they had the real video of the presidents, of Nixon, of different people, and they interspersed it in to really make it effective. So that was good. But it just wasn't, it was a nice story. It just wasn't compelling. I actually watched Hidden Figures, and I enjoyed that movie a lot better, even though you told me there were some inaccuracies in it. But I thought it was a very enjoyable movie for me because I learned things I didn't know.
Yeah. I don't think I've watched anything new recently. Oh, just to circle back to the Super Bowl really quickly, just because it's been getting a lot of talk today. Did you feel like Justin Timberlake put on a bad Super Bowl halftime show?
No, I did not think he put on. He's very talented. I mean, he's not my cup of tea, but he's very, very talented, and I appreciate his talent. I think he got more flack for the Prince tribute.
Yeah.
So if somebody asked me today, what would you have done? I said, you know, in this day and age, with all this fantastic technology, you could have had Justin Timberlake and Prince doing a duet.
No, you can't, because Prince was very, very anti. He spoke out about, when he was still alive, he spoke out about how much he hated the holograms, and he didn't ever want to be some sort of demon from the grave.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that would have been my pick anyhow. I would have said that.
Yeah.
I would have had him do it that way.
I feel like it's a tough situation. He passed away. You're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
The other thing, I mean, he's getting a lot of flack for a couple things. One, the Prince tribute, which I think was a lose-lose for him.
Absolutely.
Number two, people felt, because normally there's more than one celebrity that pops up, some other artist, they thought he was being egotistical by not bringing somebody else out with him, which I don't know, maybe logistically just didn't work out or whatever.
Or maybe the NFL was paying so much money they won't pay anybody else.
Or maybe they want to pay anybody else. And then the third thing, we're at the anniversary of Nipplegate. And people feel like he should have done more to defend Janet Jackson, and they still have not forgiven him to this day. And a lot of people wanted him to bring her out, you know, as some sort of...
I'd say the guy's really talented. I thought he put on a very good show.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my kind of show.
No, and and he's taking flack for, you know, he wore a Time's Up pin, and he was in a Woody Allen movie, so people call him a hypocrite, and people say he's not woke enough, and he's the epitome of... It just... I sort of felt like it's okay if the halftime show is just an entertaining halftime show.
Hey, it was better than Flo Rida performing on NHL Saturday night.
Without a doubt. I just thought he's been getting an awful lot of flack, and it just... Yeah, it just seemed sort of... This one seemed bizarre, because it's like... To me, it seemed like every other... You know, you get a very popular artist from about 10 years ago, typically. They come out, do a medley of their greatest hits. A bunch of fake fans hold up their cell phones in the, you know, some sort of choreographed motion, and then it ends and we go back to football. And I just thought it was the exact same as it always is, but apparently people are really upset about it, which I thought was kind of silly. Maybe they could just have Bruno Mars and his tiny little man all the time, because they seem to like him no matter what. But I just wanted to throw it out there that I thought...
Bruno Mars and Pink.
Yeah, I thought he was fine. Like, I was like, I didn't notice any difference between every other halftime show I've ever seen. So I didn't see what all the flack was about. But apparently there's, you know, people are hating on him right now. So I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I guess people need stuff to complain about, as they say. Anything else exciting coming up for you as we wrap up?
You know what? I'm still totally into The Alienist.
Okay.
And I watched, and Bellevue was the other show I talked about. And I thought the second episode of Bellevue was was really, really good. I'm excited to see that tomorrow night.
Okay.
And of course, This Is Us, which handled something that I thought was going to be very emotionally draining and difficult, and I wouldn't want to see it. Again, they made it really a good way of doing it. So I much appreciation for that show. That's my 3 TV shows. I didn't, I ate at Cheddar's, which is a chain, and I got to say impressed would not be the right word. How about pleasantly surprised?
Pleasantly surprised. We'll take that.
I thought the food was good, and I would go back. And I liked the menu. And what I liked the best was they actually have closed circuit TV in the restaurant, showing the different dishes being prepared, showing how they look.
That's pretty cool.
I like that. And I told your mom if I went back again, I would order my appetizer and watch 15 minutes of TV before I enter my entree.
Ah. Oh, real quick, one last thing, also Super Bowl related. What did you think about what Netflix did with the Cloverfield movie?
I thought it was interesting.
I mean, they just, here's the trailer for the new Cloverfield movie. Tune in after the game. It'll be on Netflix right away.
Yeah.
And
it's a great audience. I mean, it's a great place to premiere it.
It's a great place to premiere it. And again, I mean, the movie supposedly, the reviews have been terrible, and it's been kind of a mess that, Lionsgate decided they didn't want to, it seemed like it was a partnership with Netflix and it was a good place to sort of dump it. But I thought, I would assume a lot of people, that's it just seemed like a really smart idea.
Well, I was also, since we're still talking about Super Bowl, I was impressed with the Amazon commercial.
Okay, with the different voices for Siri? Or, no, Alexa.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Alexa, yeah. No, I thought it was good. Actually, as we wrap up, just because I don't remember, did you like any of the commercials, especially besides the Amazon one?
I liked the Anheuser-Busch one with the water.
Okay.
I thought that was a good way of showing that they're socially responsible and that they do those things. I like that. I was okay with the guy from Game of Thrones and Morgan Freeman. I was okay on that.
I thought it was all right. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was just sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I think it's just tougher to make a super, because everybody, you get all the people that watch just for the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's really anything to really go see this year, I don't know really what you do, how weird you have to make it with a dancing baby over, some bizarre, they've done some weird ones, but I don't know, I thought it was all right. Like I said, I didn't really see any, the one that stood out to me the most was the Amazon one, just because it felt like it was, or the Netflix one, just because it was just, here's a new movie right now, which I just thought was cool.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to this week. Here's something. For those of you that have never seen Pittsburgh Dad, watch Pittsburgh Dad. I have a feeling that Pittsburgh Dad is going to be highly entertaining this week for 2 reasons. The Patriot loss, and then comparing the touchdown catch to Jesse James. He will lose his mind.
I would say so.
It would be highly entertaining.
Like I said, to be fair, I don't think the 2 catches were that similar. I thought the Jesse James was I thought it was still a catch, but it seemed like it was much more of a 1 foot, 1 knee dive across, where Zach Ertz clearly had 3 steps before diving at the end zone. So, I was surprised they even reviewed it. But as Philly fans know that Chris Collinsworth hates the Philadelphia Eagles, is what everyone says now.
Well, it'll be fun to see how this all plays out.
Yes, it will.
See if what happens with the Belichick-Brady Kraft thing. I mean, see, again, I feel kind of bad that I was so ecstatic that team lost. But like when they showed Kraft in his booth, I was real happy that he was not happy.
Yeah, he's hard to like.
Yeah, I don't like him.
No, I mean, he's a good friend of Trump's too, which obviously doesn't help most people like him, but the weird shirts he always is constantly wearing with the white. I don't know. Again, like you, it's tough to, when you think about greatest teams of all time, they still went 5-3 with, the duo of Brady and Belichick, and they won 5 Super Bowls. So,
hey, anybody that follows me run team in the Super Bowl than they did last night with the Eagles? I said, I don't know. I'd have to say Pittsburgh in the Detroit Super Bowl.
That was insane.
Okay, so then I see Chris Mortensen, or see Ed Bouchette from Pittsburgh Press saying, check out Super Bowl XL in Detroit, 80% Steeler fans, no comparison. And then Chris Mortensen comes back and says, Ed, I think it was more like 90% Steeler fans in Detroit. The Super Bowl with the Eagle fans is only second behind that. So I jumped on that early today, and then I'm glad to see that other people saw it as well.
We were there, and you walked through the town.
And I thought it was definitely a home game.
There was...
And I blamed it on, what did we blame it on? Bad weather, and who wants to go to a Super Bowl game in Detroit, right?
Right.
We said all those things. And we said, obviously, Pittsburgh people, because it's not far, you can drive it. They probably got really good deals on tickets.
And it's the same weather.
They would watch that team play in Antarctica.
Yeah. But we walked along, all the bars became Steeler bars.
Yeah,
there were Steeler banners hanging at the stores. Like, that was just insane.
Oh, I'll tell you what else I did last night. Did you see the commercial with Matt Damon for Stella Artois for that water?
I did. I wanted to go buy a cup.
I bought 4 last night.
Nice.
They're $13. You buy them on Amazon. That's where the chalices are sold.
Oh, you buy them on Amazon. I didn't even catch that part.
I didn't know they were on Amazon until I went, and I was like, I think it was water.org or something like that.
Yeah.
And I went, and it said, it connected me to the Amazon site, so I immediately bought them.
That's really nice. I'm going to go, since I won money on this game, I'm going to go buy some right now. I don't have any glasses anyway.
There you go. They're nice glasses, too.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, so what do our fans have to look forward to next week? We won't be as ecstatic because our games have. We'll start looking forward to the future a little bit more. I'm going to go to the NBA All-Star game next week, so I'll talk a little bit about the NBA Tech Summit. Well, it's actually a week after this. I'll be going to the National Sports Forum this week.
Okay.
So I'll be talking about that.
And I'm sure we'll have some NBA news to talk about. We're getting close, a little NHL talk maybe. Not too much. I know it's not that exciting for people, but I love the NHL, so I try to keep it to a minimum because I know it's small. And the next few weeks as things slow down before we get into the, we ramp up, like you said, with, March Madness and college basketball. Maybe there'll be a little more pop culture and some other stuff mixed in over the next few weeks.
And I'll be going to the Final Four and the Masters this year, and I'll be able to report on both of those.
Have you been to the Masters or no?
Never.
Okay.
This will be my first time.
Well, that is exciting.
And I'm hoping to go to the Par 3 Championship Day, which is Wednesday, where the players all do this hole-in-one competition.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
See that.
Yeah. All right. So until next week.
We sign off. Wish everybody a great week. And revel in that victory.
Yes, indeed.